Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, today we are going to talk about the top 5 worst rated episodes of Aqua Teen Hunger Force, one of the longest running shows in Adult Swim history. With over 140 episodes, it is bound to have a few stinkers. But we're gonna look at these worst rated episodes, and we're gonna decide whether or not they actually deserve the rating. My name's Dakosity. If you enjoy the content, please leave a like and subscribe for more. I'm a very tiny, small YouTuber. Please help me inflate like a Tumblr post, specifically the ones involving furries. Now let's dive into the first episode, shall we? Season 10, Episode 3, Merlot Sauvignon Blanco. Right away, we're already starting out with the title being a funny little gag because it's just wine. Shake has a chronic addiction to shellfish. He is also allergic to shellfish. Incredibly so. English 100 Dakota. Despite this allergy, he just cannot stop eating them, to the very big detriment to his health. Frylock then suggests that he goes to a hypnotist by the name of Merlot Sauvignon Blanco, with the intention of curbing Shake's addictive impulses. But Merlot has other plans. Very, very shady plans indeed. He turns Shake into essentially a slave, curing his shellfish addiction, yes. I really cannot speak English properly. But also forcing him to take revenge on his ex-wife, assault and kill other magicians, and do just general grunt work for him, as well as hang out with him, because he is a lonely loser. Shake ends up bringing him to his house, where Frylock confronts him and ends up being pinned to the wall by ninja stars, and confronted with Merlot's secret weapon, the Mind Mosquito, who is going to suck out Frylock's brain. Meatwad then befriends Merlot, and they end up going golfing with Shake, where Merlot and Meatwad become good friends, and Shake is left in the dust, where he relapses and starts eating shellfish again. Frylock is able to persuade Mind Mosquito, however, that through the power of friendship anything is possible, and that them being friends means that Mind Mosquito should help him get out of the wall. But before Mind Mosquito ends up doing that, Carl just kills him. The episode then ends with Carl and Frylock talking about friendship, and Carl mentions that, well, I'm gonna play the clip.
Friendship ain't about trust. Friendship is about nunchucks.
And that's it. That's how it ends. There's a few good jokes in there, but I can definitely see why it is that low on the list. It is very just forgettable in terms of Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Very mundane. The villain's name was one of the funnier jokes, right? So I'd say it definitely deserves the spot, but it can be pretty interchangeable with most other just mundane kind of slop episodes. I mean, it's all slop. It's Aqua Teen Hunger Force, but you know what I mean. The just kind of like, not filler, but you know what I mean. I don't need to explain myself. We're gonna get on to the next one. Number 4, baby. Season 10, Episode 6, Skins. This one shows Shake trying to kind of fit in with a drum group of hippies in the field at the park. But he can't do that because he doesn't have bongos. He has every other instrument at his disposal apparently, but not bongos. So he decides to go and try and buy bongos from a hippie in a van. He succeeds in doing this somehow, despite knowingly not having money. I don't know how he's able to buy things. He doesn't have a job. But after using said bongos, we find out that there is a ghost haunting the bongos whenever he plays a specific tune. The ghost screams at Shake. He needs skin. He needs his skin back. He shows this to Frylock, and they decide to go confront the hippie who was selling these in the first place, where the only super funny joke of the entire episode actually plays out.
I control a multinational conglomerate of patchouli peddlers. I have thousands of these rusted RVs around the globe.
Turns out, the hippie, after tripping so hard that he went into space, found a race of aliens called the Wabi-Sabi. And in a true Onceler-like fashion, the bongo seller skinned all of the Wabi-Sabi, using every single body part for some kind of, thing to sell, like the bongos using the skin, or him using their scrotums as hacky sacks. But now the bongos are haunted by the Wabi-Sabi. They want their skin. The Aqua Teens start protesting. Shake chains himself to a tree and he riles up the hippies. They're bongoing away to keep the Wabi-Sabi summoned into our world. He ends up just going to the Aqua Teen's house. The hippies are all outside. Carl gets upset, kills the hippies. Wabi-Sabi guy just goes away because the music's not being played anymore. And Shake ends up getting his wish because he finally gets to play in a band with Frylock and Meatwad outside of a mattress firm with the kazoo. This episode was also pretty forgettable. There were a few funny jokes in there, but overall, yeah, season 10 seems to be one of the kind of weaker seasons. I mean, the two of their episodes are in the top 5 worst rated. So let's see if that trend continues. Number 3 is season 4, episode 8, Grim Reaper Gutters. Now, for the majority of this episode, it was basically a slideshow of Master Shake, Meatwad, and Frylock talking to each other in their living room, just reminiscing on past experiences and calling out Shake for being a liar. Over halfway through the episode, Meatwad mentions that he made a shirt completely out of body hair. Frylock wants him to get Carl to come over to try on the shirt, and they convince him by using a corn star that was just there for some reason, all naked and crouched over and talking all hot and stuff.
Hey, what's tattooed on your uterus?
A unicorn making love to a Keebler elf.
But he doesn't actually care about the shirt. No. Frylock just wants Carl to interact with the Grim Reaper that is outside their house and apparently was always there, trying to sell gutters. And he will not leave until he makes a sale.
Oh, hi.
Excuse me, get out of my way.
My name's Dan from Grim Reaper Gutters. I won't leave until I make a sale.
Yeah, well, my gutters are fine there, thanks. So, get lost, Chief.
Really? Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm looking at them right now, and they're there. So, get lost.
Unfortunately for Carl, he doesn't buy any gutters. So the Grim Reaper just touches him and kills him, which scares Frylock enough to make him just bite the bullet and buy the gutters from the guy, which, as you can see, like they just made like a spider web worth of gutters all over the house. It doesn't even make any sense. And then Meatwad just shoots himself in the face for some reason.
What does that matter? None of that matters now.
Wait, no.
This one definitely deserves a top 3 worst spot. The Grim Reaper section was very funny, I'm not gonna lie. Like the last part of it, it's saved. It would probably be the worst episode if it wasn't saved by the last like 3 minutes of the show. But clip shows and stuff like that in shows as a full episode it's never a good thing. Where they're just standing around reminiscing of, you know, good times. Definitely one of the more boring episodes out there. Overall. Second place for the worst episode in Aqua Teen Hunger Force history. Season 6, episode 10, the last one forever and ever. This one starts out pretty normal for the show. Frylock finds out that the water is flammable. He attempts to warn Meatwad and Master Shake.
Wait a minute. No!
But fails in time to get Carl to stop using the water. Carl ends up using his pool, blowing up just everything, causing a massive chain reaction. But then it cuts out. It turns out that this was a script that Frylock was reading from Shake in live action for some reason. Frylock says his script is terrible and says he's gonna kick him out. Master Shake is very upset. He goes into Meatwad's room. Meatwad doesn't exist, by the way, but there is a workout ball in there, an aerobic ball, that Shake ends up killing with a sword for some reason.
If that's all right.
With you!
But then it starts talking to him like Meatwad, and also it's better. Meatwad helps him write a better script. But then Shake, trying to get a job, meets Carl at some bouncy house place and ends up changing the script. Meatwad's not a fan of this. And then they try to kill Frylock, but then Master Shake just gives a sword back, and then he's like, oh, the ending. And then we see the ending of the show, where the Aqua Teens just kind of leave. And then Carl's like, they truly were an Aqua Teen Hunger Force. And then that was the episode. I said, and then like 100 times. I'm a very good YouTuber, I promise. So yeah, I can see why this is like one of the lowest rated episodes. I mean, it's in live action for some reason. I can see why the general audience didn't find this funny, or in better words, good. I don't think this is the second worst episode in Aqua Teen Hunger Force history. This was really funny, actually. I think the live action did it wonders. Obviously, if they did this a lot, the joke would be stale. But the fact that this was just one random episode where they decided to do the whole thing in live action mostly, it's peak. It does help that Master Shake is played by Harry John Benjamin, you know, the voice actor for Bob from Bob's Burgers, Archer from Archer. I don't think it deserves to be here is what I'm saying. Also, live action Carl is literally just a random person who won a Burger King contest. And the number 1 worst episode of Aqua Teen Hunger Force, according to IMDb, is Season 4, Episode 3, Deleted Scenes. One of the only 22-minute episodes. The entire thing is basically Master Shake going over a bunch of outtakes from his latest movie that's up and coming. These deleted scenes are actually just scenes from the movie that was going to come out at the time, you know, the first Aqua Teen Hunger Force movie. And I can see why people didn't like this. For one, it's double the size of a normal episode, which in my opinion, I wouldn't care if, you know, I got more Aqua Teen Hunger Force. But it's it's definitely very slow. It's just a bunch of random scenes from the movie that aren't even actually from the movie. The Moonanites brainwash Carl, make him shove a broom up his butt and do a bunch of other horrible things. They try to steal the Insano Flex like the movie, but it doesn't end up the same way at all. And then Carl shoots Shake with a shotgun at the end because, I mean, he made him shove a broom up his butt again after the first time they did it because they had to do a reshoot. I know I'm going to spend like the least amount of time talking about this, but that's exactly why it's at the bottom, I assume. Because it's just, it's like a deleted scenes that you would see in an actual movie disc, right? But not really. I don't know how to explain it. It just would have been better if it was one whole 12-minute episode, right? But that's it. That is the top 5 worst rated episodes on IMDb for Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Again, if you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing. It helps my tiny, puny, stupid channel so much, and I really, really need it. I plan on doing a best episodes, doing basically the same format for this show, as well as maybe like Robot Chicken and anything else. If you want to leave suggestions in the comments, go ahead. I plan on doing a video a day for this. Totally original idea, by the way. Didn't steal this from anyone. My name's Dakosity Live. I love you guys. Check out my other content, and goodbye. Also, have a wonderful rest of your day.